Hey, what's up, everybody? I could tell the YouTube signal is not very strong, so we'll see how it goes. Sometimes it picks up, sometimes it doesn't. Let us know if you're getting audio because I do know the picture is a little glitchy right now. It's been all over the place during the intro from being super strong to being super weak, but we'll see what happens. We're going to give it a go anyways. What can I do? It's my cable company, I believe. So, anyways, here with Andrew, Party Size, cycling again. First time in a little while, right?
Hey,
Like almost a month, has it been?
been a couple, two weeks. No, I think we had one this month already. The new format.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It feels like a long time because I didn't stream last week and then I was gone for the weekend, so it just throws everything.
You're coming off island time. Everything feels
Yeah,
like a
that's
lot.
right. Yeah, we were curious about like certain aspects of things in Florida, like how much of it is island time. Because when you're in a big city, that doesn't really happen as much. But then when you get to the small town, it's that's where I feel like it shows sometimes. But
Yeah.
anyways, yeah, back. So I'm back from Florida
Um,
for those who don't know.
I definitely feel like the Avon Park is more on island time than Tampa is, in my experience from visiting both the places that you went.
Yeah, yeah, I would assume Tampa is more typical because it's a big city. I don't. We forgot to look up. I usually look up how big of a city places are that we go to. I didn't look at what the population of Tampa was, but it's got to have a big, like metro region because of the whole Bay Area, like Clearwater and St. Pete's and all that.
Mhm.
Probably makes it a pretty big place. And then it's also got like an industrial side, which seems to be kind of going away because there's a lot of new condos, which looks like must be near where the port and like more industrial stuff was back in the day from our cruising around. But let's see if YouTube is pulling us through.
Yeah, it definitely I did in Seminole Heights when I was down there at an Airbnb, and that was like cool neighborhoody type vibe, and mainly hung around there. Other than we did when I was down there for Tampa Bike Olympics, there was a scavenger hunt. They sort of took us all over the city, but I was kind of following people and not routing myself, so I really had no semblance for where I was. And then the day before, I was riding I think I did like 30 miles around the city with Steve, and again had no, because when you're following somebody, I feel like you just don't have any semblance for
Yeah.
I for where in the city you are, where. But like looking at a map, I pretty much hit everywhere, but really like hung out in Seminole Heights. Although I did one funny thing. I guess I do. I'm guessing you don't listen to Hold Steady.
No.
Okay, because you pronounced Ybor City, Ybor
Oh,
City
yes.
in the video.
Oh, yeah. And I am going to get comments
Hold Steady
about
has a
that.
million lyrics,
I'm going to get
so
comments
that's why I
about
was
that
like,
for the
okay, so
rest of
definitely
my
didn't listen.
YouTube career. It'll never stop. I'll have to read one a day for the rest of my life. I've already had five, but yeah. And Steve even said it
Oh,
to
did you?
us.
Okay, I didn't get a chance to look at the comments on the video.
No, it will never end. It will never end. So
Uh, it stopped me dead. I was like, what is he talking? Why? And then I saw it because you were saying it because of the sign. I was like, oh shit.
yeah, and Steve said it. Steven said it to us. He said,
Although, in all fairness, I would never have done that. Said
yeah,
pronounce that correctly either, having not like been a devout Hold Steady fan.
yeah. Steven said it when we had lunch with him, and I still said it in the video. And then I saw the first comment. I was like, damn it! Like this is my life now for at least a month of answering comments. Like that's not how it's pronounced. God damn it!
I do need to go back to Ybor City though, because there is a goth club there called the Castle that's really well known, and I just didn't have time to go there, but would love to check that. I'd like knock that
Oh.
off the bucket list at some point. That's a real classic spot
Yeah, we only
for
got to the
the
edge of
goth
it.
heads and the.
I think we only got to the edge of that area. I think right when our second coffee stop, we were getting in there, and then we would have headed on if it didn't get too late in the day. But do we have any
I mean,
YouTube?
it's a big party.
Okay.
That's where like the Tampa party scene is.
Yeah, I was feeling like I was comparing it from just what I was hearing about it to the areas I know in Cleveland or Akron. So, yeah. When you went down, how long did you say you spent around the event? Did you do what we did? Like you had a day when you got into Tampa and then you went out to the event?
I think it was Wednesday. Hung out with Steve on Thursday, Friday we had the scavenger hunt, and the event was Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Sunday. We explored St. Pete a little bit too. We drove over to St. Pete, which is across the water there.
Yeah.
And just popped around for a little, had lunch, and went back. I totally missed the memo. Steve was like, "Oh, we'll go like check out St. Pete tomorrow," and I was like, "Cool." Looked it up later. I was like, "Holy, that's going to be like a 60-mile ride plus on the scavenger hunt. Like I'm doing a century tomorrow." Did not come down here prepared for this.
Yeah.
And then like I'm all ready to ride, and then they pull up in a car. Like, oh, okay. Got it. We're driving to St. Pete and riding around. Makes sense. So I did not have to do a impromptu century down there.
Good.
So. Yeah, I mean, it would be different if it was for what's it called, for Orange Blossom, because obviously that's a distance thing. Tampa Bike Olympics was not that sort of, all in a park. And the scavenger hunt itself was maybe 20 miles of riding.
What route did you do when you did do Orange Blossom?
We did it ended up being 92 for us because we had to skip some of the single track.
That's right. Well,
we were advised, we got texts from ahead that said that was going to be pretty impossible with the on the tandem because we have the Nito Bosco bars, which are super wide, and like the sharpness of some of the turns through like the trees and stuff like that. There was no way. So we were late enough in the day that we just bypassed that. And,
yep. And so last year, is it that because it was super dry this year, and so like very, very sandy? Did you guys get a little rain beforehand that kept it a little more rideable in spots? Or
so we started off in the rain, actually.
Oh, yeah, because
which helped keep it down, but it was still hard to ride through. I don't think it did much for that, but it wasn't. We weren't getting as much of the kick up.
Yeah, because Erin was she was like, how did they do this on a tandem? She was trying to picture you guys navigating that together, because we did all right, because we're both riding wider tires and sweep bars. But this is one of my favorite things. Kind of a negative, kind of a positive. We got like a few, like in the morning, like very, very kitted out dudes passed us. And we turned and we're like, hey, how's it going? Mm-hmm. And they were not going to say anything to us unless we said something to them, which to me is weird when you're at an event like this where you're all in it together and it's not competitive. And then we came up to a super sandy spot, and me and Aaron were going right down the middle of the road, and they were all pushing their bikes, and we're like, that's fucking right.
Yeah, they got a pretty good mix down there, I feel like, of like hitters and people that were just out for the day and cruising. So
yeah,
I think he does a really good job at cultivating that event. I think we've talked about this before, but continue to talk about it. He's done a really good job, I think, of matching, because that's like Tampa alt, if you will, scene is also pretty racy because how it's flat, it's a city, so a lot of the people in like they're nice, fast people, if you want to put it that way, but there's still like a lot of really fast people and a lot of like kitted riders and stuff like that. And there's also a lot of different things, but they take that part of it seriously. In fact, Steve used to run races and things like that down there.
Yeah, definitely. Like for an alt cycling event, it was the highest level of Lycra I've ever seen. And again, almost everybody was super nice. So this is not disparaging in any way. Like almost everybody was cool. Like in the evening, I was hanging out with people who were kitted out during the day. You wouldn't have known that in the evening, but yeah, there was like a New Orleans crew there. There was like the Miami crew there, and like some of the Tampa locals. It was a real mix between there was like 5 specialized like 90s bikes with like a more modern conversion to make the geometry better. But then there was definitely like, it was much more of a mixed bag. Like Nutmeg, like you're an extreme minority in kit. Not that there isn't any of it, but but at Orange Blossom, it was a much more even between the alt cycling crowd, the racy crowd, and then the spectrum in between as well, which like I always say is fine, as long as you're cool. I don't care what you dress like, and I don't want alt cycling to become a uniform either. So, yeah. But it was definitely, more mixed crowd, more mixed bike style than I've seen at an event like this. So.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of the I'm assuming conversation pace
Oh,
87 is
just jumped
Steve.
in.
What's up?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So, do you know Wosh? Party size. You've met
Yeah,
Wosh. She broke
yeah, yeah.
her broke her ankle the night before the
Booker.
event.
Yeah.
Bummer. Yeah.
Oh, a reminiscent of Aaron's. Okay, I didn't read that. I thought Aaron was somehow involved in her breaking her leg. I was gonna say,
Oh
oh
no.
no, but yeah, that is a bummer. Yeah, I saw she posted that. Um, did she go down there just for that? I know she tends to
She takes the winners
travel.
traveling, so I think she timed that into, she did she rode the Florida Keys and everything, and did a bunch of kayaking with like manatees in different spots. So it was like it was worked into her itinerary basically of what she was planning on doing. So
Yeah, I definitely have some FOMO. I wish I had, especially that I'm not working, but I didn't plan ahead. And had I known Nate Baker was driving down, I might have
yeah,
last just popped in with Nate
yeah,
and gone out, hung out. But I was like, I have to fly, and I don't have a bike bag. I'm curious. I want to like once we start getting into this, I want to hear your experience with flying with a bike because I know this was your first time. You said right?
yeah. First time ever doing it, and I am gonna
Also the
make
Tampa.
yeah, I am gonna make a entire video showing it because I think it's a big barrier to a lot of people. And I'm going to be like, as I always say, like, this is not my advice on how to do it. This is how we did it. And this is my specific experience, because I'm going to get the comments that are like, I've always thrown my bike in a cardboard bike box and it's never been an issue, like whatever. And so I'm braced for all of it. But yeah, it's like we had no issues. And I was like real down on it. Like after we went to the bike shop, it was really easy to load the bikes in there, but I was at 50 pounds with nothing else in the bag. And I was thinking I'm going to be able to stuff stuff in there. And in the future, if I'm bike packing, I'll be able to put like my extra bags in here in the triangle. And I was like, well, that's not going to be the case. And then on both ways, they never weighed the bike bag. So I could have put stuff in there.
Even when you put it up on the thing, it didn't weigh it,
It's all
or they just
kiosks.
didn't.
It's all kiosks now. And an agent comes over to you. And on the way
Huh.
back, the agent said, these are under 50 pounds, right? And we're like, yes. And on the way back, mine definitely wasn't because I figured since I got down there with stuff that I could put it in, I gambled on putting stuff I didn't want to carry in the bike bag because
Yeah.
if they made me take it out, I had the space. So, yeah.
Oh, all right. Well, I won't think of that every time. They definitely put like I had to put mine up on the thing before they took it back. So,
Yeah.
might just be small airports. Something I don't know. Newark definitely equate them.
Yeah, I feel like a big part of it is this because the lady was even like, yeah, they're making us use all these kiosks. And I'm like, what are they saving if you still have to walk over here to us as we like to tag our stuff? Like, I don't know. It's weird. But, yeah, whatever. Like,
Side note, hold on. Bill in Columbia said about oof, you'd bury a tandem to the axles in that sand. That's exactly what happened, and that's
yeah,
why we were dead fucking last event last year because we were like we were doing 25 plus miles an hour on the road sections, but once we got into that like red sand, it just we would cut right like the tandem was just too heavy. It would just push right through. So we had to I've told this story on here before, but for the I know everybody's on every time, but so we would have to like ride the perfect crest, and then if we got like sort of off camber at all, it would just completely slide out. If we lost traction, we would have to just hold it straight until we found traction again, because any attempt to like correct it would just completely like slide us out. And so that might, if you recall, there's like the irrigation ditches kind of on the side. So like
yeah.
sometimes like, well, hope we catch traction before before we end up in the ditch. We'll find out. But yeah, there was a couple like acrobatic moves that we had to pull to like not. We never fully went down. Like we never dropped the bike, but we definitely like skidded somehow, like jackknifed the tandem a few times and had to like hop off of it, but held it up.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
funny.
what's up, Natty?
I actually,
What's up?
being on the bike I was on and the bike Aaron was on, like, we didn't mind the sections that were sandy. I mean, it was such a beautiful ride, but being low
Yeah,
elevation, that was like the element that gave it like a challenge. You know what I mean? It was like fighting through like because it's the sand doesn't go on and on. You're usually on a good road, and then a
Mhm.
thick part of sand hits, or there's a turn, then you have to navigate through the turn in the sand. So for us, like it was kind of it's like when you hit the rocky section at Nutmeg, that was like the challenging thing to try and get through because you're gonna get done doing the 60. You guys were doing 90 in reasonable time.
At
So
Pudgy Pedal
oh,
Pusher
hang on
became
one
a
second.
member. At Pudgy Pedal
We got
Pusher
a super chat
celebrates
coming through.
59 months of membership. Fart, fart,
I
fart,
see it.
fart, 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 yanda, fart, fart.
Thanks, Budgie, for the 59 months of membership. Damn, yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, I smuggle my wife's around the world in my bike bag. Highly recommended. Of course, a Mr. Natty comment. And Slotty said, shocked that you didn't get weighed. Yeah.
Gosh,
No.
yeah. Not only that, but did yours get opened?
Yeah, there were only on the way out. There was a TSA note in it on the way out, but there was not one on the way back. So,
Interesting. Okay.
and I haven't
I
seen
definitely got it.
my bike's still on Aaron's Subaru, so I haven't. I can't make the video about how it went entirely because I don't know everything's still fine. And like I said, I had put a bunch of stuff in the bike bag, gambling on not getting weighed, and then also stuff like from the event. Like Steve gave us the cool like pirate map and all that, and so stuff that I didn't want to get bent.
Wait.
Today was only like 12 degrees and like we ended up getting a ton of snow. So me and Aaron were going to go to the shop and we didn't do it. So I'll find out tomorrow how my bike fared on the way back. But no bent rotors, nothing on the way out, no problems. Everything went smooth. Like really stoked on that. We also did it very easy. Our hotel was right by the airport. We were able to take a shuttle from the airport to the hotel. And then, like I said, we rode to the airport to get our rental car. And that's why I did that all intentionally to not add a bunch of, other logistics into the thing when we already haven't done this before. So.
Was it a soft bag or a hard bag?
I guess they would consider it soft. It has reinforcement where it needs it. So where the one wheel goes in the backside, it has 2 bars, and where the one wheel goes in the front, it has like a hard area around the rotor. But your seat and your stem are what are giving the top most of the structure, and then there's a bar in the bottom that you put your through axles into, and it covers the whole bottom of the bag. So it almost feels like it's a hybrid. Maybe the material is soft, but it definitely has some
That's
structure.
better than what I had.
That's what you
I had
had.
a real hard time with the disc trucker along the chainstays where they fit in. It was a soft bag, but it like really wouldn't fit in there well. And then when I got home, my top tube was dented.
Oh, yeah,
It's not catastrophic. It's like only if you like run your hand over it can you, but it's distinct.
yeah. The my rear wheel where it fit in the bag it couldn't have been any bigger. There was like the maximum size that you would get in there, or I would have had it deflated or something. I don't know, which with tubeless would not have been a good scene. But it got right in there, and the zipper went like right around it. So that's a 29er with a 55 Renaers on there. So that's about the maximum. When we left the bike shop, I'm like, flying with your bikes is for roadies and rich people. I was all like frustrated because of the weight and like everything. But then we got on the trip and everything went smooth. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I got my bike down here in Florida. So,
Well, kudos. That's it's an ordeal. I feel like I guess it's not like you said. It's if it goes all well. For me, I felt like it was an ordeal. So happy that you seem to have a smooth time with it.
Yeah, because I was already.
It's also because I got to the Airbnb. There was a group ride at like 8 a.m. the next morning called Slow Nuts down in Tampa that I wanted to go check out and was meeting Steve at. So I had to, starting at midnight, put the bike together in like a very low lit porch in in Tampa at the Airbnb that took me until I think like way too long because I was tired from traveling and just had a couldn't get. I had to completely take I had to take the brakes off. I had to take everything completely apart. So to get all that dialed back in enough to go ride it the next morning took me a good 2.5 hours. So it was a so I'm glad, like I said, that you're like that wasn't your experience.
Yeah, and I also felt like I thought the bike was going to have to be broken down more. So our reassembly time was quick because it was just wheels, pedals, and raising the saddle, and then just putting the bars with the faceplate. Like I've seen some where it feels like people are taking their stems out and stuff. We didn't have to do any of that. It also might be the problem why the bike bags are heavier. You know, why we're already at 20 pounds before the bike's even in there. But it also makes the reassess not.
I tried that though, for sure. I'm definitely curious to see the video and watch this bag in action. I borrowed mine. It was like one of those easy post. No, that's not the right. That's the it's EF's sponsor. What post something post bags maybe, I don't know. It was they were hot at the time 4 or 5 years ago, and I borrowed it from somebody that also got it for like one trip and never used it. So I'm glad I didn't buy one. But and I'm assuming you guys bought them.
No, we rented them from Dirty River. They rent them. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Nice.
Look.
Wow, that's a really nice service.
So not only that, but when we took our bikes to the shop, and Brian, one of their guys, literally showed us everything and helped us break down the bikes and put them in there. Figure it out on our own. And so we took a picture when the bike was in there, like you do, which we didn't even end up needing. Like getting to see it firsthand and be on top of it. And I was filming it all, made it so convenient. So if anyone's in the Akron area, I would even say region, and you want the lowest barrier to entry to flying with your bike, this is great because you're going to get a tutorial. You're pretty much going to, we walked out the door with our bikes in the bag right into Aaron's car the day before the trip. So.
And that's smart because then you don't have that, I wonder if they started doing that, or if that's something they learned the hard way. Like, oh shoot, if we do it for people, then they can't get it back in.
Yeah.
Or we don't show them. That's a really good service. Because I for Mid-South, I think I looked into bike flights. We ended up driving, so it didn't matter. And yeah, it's like $300.
Yeah, the whole bike flights
flights
thing is not really legit anymore. Like, because flying with your bike on most airlines is cheaper, even if you go over the weight, So, because people talk about shipping to bike shops and then they'll build it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. The nice thing for Mid-South, if you use bike flights, is to ship your bike way ahead of time. So it has to be a bike that you're not going to be training on or using.
Oh.
But when you arrive to District Cycle, they have it assembled, ready, tuned up, like put together by a professional. You just walk in the door and pick it up. And then same thing, you drop it back off to them, and then they disassemble it and then deal with all the stuff. So that's like the valet red carpet service. I feel like renting a bag is definitely the happy medium, I think, between throwing it in a bike box with some styrofoam, with some bubble wrap and duct taping it together.
Yeah, they said we're cutting out a bit.
Cool.
Yeah, I know we're low streaming.
The video.
Yeah. So, anyways, I think for our subjects.
What's that? Sorry.
I was going to say, for our subjects, by the way, my first subject was for was going to be alt cycling events, which we've kind of just been covering this whole time, and it's our non-competitive cycling events, which have become just one of my favorite things to do. I would do as many of them as I could. You can't do them all, but it was unique, and I think we've covered a little bit of this, to see Orange Blossom compared to the ones, because I think all the ones up in our area are based on nutmeg, whereas Orange Blossom, like, I don't know if Stephen ever had that idea because of that or because of some of the other alt cycling events, but he hasn't been to them. So, and I don't know if that really affects anything, but the big difference, I would say, and I'd be curious if you think this, is that Orange Blossom takes place in a town, so you still have town amenities. So not that they don't take care of you, but they don't need to take care of you on the level that like Nutmeg, Hodag, or what's Miggy's? My mind just went blank. Uh,
It's the event is not centered around camping
yeah,
like the two you mentioned in Gunks, right? So
Gunks. Yeah,
I think that does change the vibe pretty dramatically. I know that there is a bunch of people that do stay in a campground that I think is like 10 miles
yeah,
out of town. But yeah, it's not centered around that the same way. I agree. I don't think that it changes. Yes, it changes it that it's not. Nutmeg feels like, yeah, Ronnie has to plan every moment of it versus I feel like unless something changed this year, Steve doesn't necessarily have to do that.
Mhm.
He certainly makes sure everybody has a good time and accommodates people and like puts on some things people get a chance to meet, but he's not trying to find something for you to do the entire weekend or providing like a venue that entire time.
yeah. And we also didn't stay at the
So
hotel, which we would do
I did,
next.
yeah,
Good.
no good.
Yeah, we didn't stay at the
No, please
hotel
go.
where most people did and the event was based, and we would definitely next time. And the only reason we didn't is because I slept on it. I just wasn't paying enough attention. And we called the book, it was already full, which would give it a little bit more of that experience. But I still hung out there till, pretty decent, like late into the evening, both times. So I was still around the event. But yeah, it just makes it different where like the food truck, when it had a line backed up, me and Aaron just walked across the street and got some other snacks and then got our food that was included with the event later. Whereas at Nutmeg, you're not going to get in your car and go somewhere else to get food. Like it needs to be there. It has to, at even Gunks, like there's stuff not that far, but like the events are very contained. And Orange Blossom is less contained because it actually has and this is
Was
not a
it the
good or bad.
pozole? Was that what was
What's that? Say that again.
was that the food?
Uh,
Was the food? Was it the Angie's pozole?
no, it was a well,
Like a potatoy soup type of thing?
no, they were tacos. They were tacos. Yeah. Are you sipping tea? Are you?
So a little inside baseball.
Okay.
What's that?
Are you sipping tea?
Sorry, you're cutting a little bit.
Good.
No, coffee. Sorry,
Oh, gotcha.
decaf coffee. Been a big decaf kick lately. That's my thing, right at the moment. What did I say? Oh, so Angie, who I have met at previous things, we ended up being accidental roommates at Mid South, but she's from Tampa. She was staying at our Airbnb last year, but she was also doing the cooking for the event. And so at some point we're all in the Airbnb. We're like, when is Angie going to start? She's got to make like pozole for 150 people. She hasn't started yet. It's like, okay, we got back from dinner, still hanging out. Like, I think she started like midnight and was like up until I don't think she went to bed. I think she cooked the entire time and then went directly. It was late for the start of the event because she was still cooking. I was like, oh man. But we got an Airbnb last year that was about 1.5 miles away from the start, which was, I think, I know Tim and Nate Baker stayed there this year. I know who else they got. I don't know if was in that Airbnb, but that was a good spot. It's right on the lake. And it was nice because you were kind of like away from, like, so you could go back to your place and chill and then, be in the mix whenever you wanted.
Yeah, we were farther. We were more like, we were in Sebring, which is the next town down, but it was all bike lanes. So when Aaron would take off before me and to take the truck back, and then I would just like get my bike out of the truck and then I rode home down the bike. There was bike paths, so I rode the 8 miles home both nights, and that doesn't bother me at all. But I think I would stay at the hotel, or we would get a closer Airbnb if that wasn't an option next year. So, but I never mind riding.
Yeah, that bike lane's pretty nice. I know exactly the one you're talking about. Yeah. It's very spacious. And then,
I think we lost each other there for a second.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. But
Oh.
so when did the DFL come in?
What time was that? I would have to look at the timestamp on my photos because I had been sitting around drinking all afternoon.
I do feel like we missed out on that, like the hang after the event, because we were there so late, and by the time we were done, we just wanted to get home and get some food in us and stuff. So we kind of didn't get